I'm Janie. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Upcycle Creations, where we take unwanted items or things that are headed to the landfill and try to give them new life by combining them and creating gift items or home deck and things that rag dolls, things that people would enjoy having in their homes. So today I just wanted to do some chatting and sewing because I'm amazed that after all my years of being a professional violinist, here I am now with a needle and thread in my hands, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I am very happy with the change. When I was doing music, you have to be there no matter what the weather, no matter how you feel. Uh, no, it just doesn't matter. The audience is waiting. And that can be very stressful, especially now that I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And if you've never been in Fort Lauderdale with the traffic and I-95, you have missed some really amazing experience because it is brutal. And I just don't feel comfortable being out at night fighting that, especially if the weather's bad. So I was just going to talk today a little about my slow stitching. Now at Upcycle Creations, I do a lot of things other than just slow stitching, but I thought that was a good place to start my YouTube channel. This piece I'm working on, as you can see, all I'm doing is going in and out. This is a really good stitch for this because it adds some integrity to the fabric that you're working on, makes it a little thicker and helps along that way. But I do a lot of other things, which I'll get to in a few minutes. This, what I'm doing, is a filler. And it's just a basic stitch that anybody can do. And if all you do is this stitch, that's fine. So I keep turning it so I'm comfortable with it. You just hold it any way you want to. Notice I'm going in and out 2 or 3 times. That helps keep the rows straight. And when you do this, it also, as you can see here, where the fabric joins, I don't have to turn them under. I just put them there and I just do this over the edges as I go along. All of this. And when you're coming along, like right here, it adds interest just to, just curve that around a little bit. You don't have to do anything fantastic. You start out with just, a handful of scraps that you pulled out of your scrap jar and a few beads and things and a little lace here and there. Any of that would be unusable by itself, but you put it together and you get something like this. And I'm thinking that this is going to end up being a purse. It won't be the whole purse. I'm going to add something to it because, as one lady pointed out, it's too much if all I use is just this. Too much of a good thing. So, and this is what the back looks like. Some of this you can see is my basting, which I talk about in a video. Is my basting, but you can see my stitches on the back, and it doesn't have to be beautiful. These will, a lot of it will come out, but it's all going to be covered up with lining when I get done. So if you're interested in starting slow stitching, which is a great thing, I do have 2 videos, part 1 and 2, on how to get going with it. So you might enjoy watching those. They're in the description. But here, now, we'll see if I can do this. Sometimes, it works. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I have to use a needle threader. And it looks like this is one of those times. Oh, that's not going to work. Let me grab my needle threader. I use the old-fashioned one. I got some new ones, and I know there are a lot of people that really like them, but I don't know. I just go back to this one if I can get that through there. Come on, there we go. Yeah. So sometimes you have to open up this inside just a little bit. Not easy with trifocals. Now, when I'm doing the slow stitching, I am doing this with 3 strands of embroidery thread. I think that's easy enough. Oh, Izzy is my dog. That makes it thick enough that you can see it, but not clunky looking, and it's easy to get through the needle, the eye of the needle. And I just do some people can do this easy. I just do a knot on the end, and that, nothing fancy, just a little knot. Now, I was working on, where was I? Right here. Okay, so I'm just going to put my needle up in here, right where I left off. Oops, I want a little closer. I'm going to start right there. And then I'm getting to this end. Now, the nice thing about slow stitching is that it grows on its own. Now here, if you see this is liable to shred more than I want it to. And this is going to be a purse, so it's going to get some good use. So I'm going to change my direction right here. This is how slow stitching gets to be one of a kind, because whatever you're doing, you've got to adjust to whatever material you have and think ahead. How's it going to be used? If it's going to be used, and this is going to be carried around and, set on the ground possibly, brushing up against stuff. So you want to make sure that this is good. So here I have just part of that right there going the other direction. If you can see that. Let me see. Yeah. See, that's just going the other direction a little bit. Now I'm going to go back to my regular stitch that I was using. And just coming around like this. Yeah, slow stitching, you can use it in a lot of different ways. You can use it just to take a little of it and put a patch, do a pocket on jeans. That looks good. You can use it and fill in a yoke of a jacket on the back. That's beautiful. Or you could do something on the entire back of a jacket. So it's very adaptable and very forgiving. If you make a mistake, well, I don't know what you would call a mistake, because it's individual. Does not matter. This stitch right here, this is the simplest way of doing it. I think it's called sashiko, and I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese, but what I read about it was that it came from the long time ago, people working in the fields, they didn't have a lot of money, and so they couldn't just run down to the store and get another pair of jeans. So they would take this stitch and a piece of a scrap of cloth, and where the work clothes were torn or weak, they would put this over it, and this strengthens the material quite a lot. So they started this way. Well, as would have it, anybody that does the same thing over and over again, they start doing it a little differently. And I can see Mrs. Smith saying, well, I can make mine look better than Mrs. Jones. And so they started making designs out of it. Now what I'm doing here is I am taking out my basting as I go. So, and sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. You don't want to cut your thread. there. Uh, and they just kept getting more and more intricate, the designs and the stitches that they did, and it's all this, just in different patterns. If you look it up on the internet, you'll see some absolutely gorgeous things. Now I just use this right now. I would love to get into the others, but I haven't had the time yet, but I would like to. It truly is an art when you see it at the level that the people have done it historically. But even doing this, it adds a lot to your project. The other thing about slow stitching is it's very portable. Take it with you. Got a doctor's appointment? Lord knows I've had enough of those. And you never know whether they're going to get you on time or you're going to sit there, for an hour, sometimes two, no matter what comes up. You got to sit there and wait. So this is very easy to just throw in a bag, take what I need with very little planning ahead, and you can sit there and work on your slow stitching. Whoops, I hit my camera. So that's a good thing of it. The other thing is, we live in a pretty stressful world, and sometimes it's nice when the weather's nice down here in Florida and not too hot. It's nice just to go find some shade out in the yard and sit there and do my slow stitching, enjoy the canal and all the sounds and my neighbors going by. I enjoy that, and it's very relaxing. Also, I don't know about you, but especially if I have something on my mind, that gives me time to work it out. It's amazing. They're just sitting there with no TV on, no phone going, just sitting there in the quiet, working on my slow stitch. There I am, and working out anything that's just kind of naturally comes about. So that's the other good thing of it. And then of course, with me and having changed from violin to sewing, that is a big change. I don't know, if I'd love to hear from you if you've had to do that. It's going pretty well. There are ups and downs, but I think one of the nice things is, have you ever been to a concert and thought, I wonder if that person on stage had a rotten week, kids with chicken pox, and they had to prepare this? Nobody ever thinks about that. But you can't go into a performance thinking, well, I had a rough week, so maybe I'll only play 80% of these notes. That's a pretty good percent. 90%. That would be an A in most classes. No, you have to go into it prepared to do 100%. How many people in the audience really accept? They paid a ticket. They're expecting a good performance. That's always in the back of your mind. So that stress level you live with, day in and day out. With this now, you can, if you really hate it, you can take it and take it apart and do it again. With performing, you don't get any do-overs. That's it. You come prepared, you do it, and you take what you get. Now, here's my 6 strands. Get back to this. And a lot of times, if you're playing a road show, they come to town and you get one rehearsal at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You go to dinner. You haven't played through the whole show. You don't even know what the show's going to be. And you can't take the music off the stand. You got to be able to play it the first time through. Then you go to dinner, you come back, you play the show, you get your check, you go home. It sounds easy, but it's pretty stressful. So I am thoroughly in my 77th year, enjoying knowing that, this doesn't have to be perfect. I can enjoy doing it. If it really bothers me, I can take it apart and do it again, which I have done. And I'm not having any luck threading this. So before I get this threaded though, let's look at this. Okay, on this, right now I'm working on this background. But as you can see on this, I've got these little medallions here that I cut off some lace. This, I explained this in the video. This is just a chain stitch that I saw somebody do, and I just love the way they used it. So we have that. This is just lace that I attached with all these little beads. Now these are, I have this little thing called a Sizzix, I think. And it has die cuts, and you just run it through, and it'll cut out these things. So I didn't have to cut out these. I just when I have little bits of material, I just make these. And then this is free motion embroidery. You have to have a special foot for it. And then your sewing will go backwards and forwards, and it'll go in circles. It's used for quilting, that idea. So here I just go around this with a machine, and that holds that down. So there's just a lot of different things, and as you do slow stitching, you'll get, into more and more of the techniques of it. And I love watching people that have been doing it for a long time. They come up with so many good ideas. So this one, let me get this done. Here I go again. This is my 3 strands. You can do this with regular thread. You can do it with a thicker thread. You can do it with yarn. You can do it with anything you want to. This does not want to come through. Come on. Sometimes, as far as needles go, people will tell you use this needle or that needle. I really have no idea what needles I have in my stash. When I'm doing this, I want to see a fairly short needle with a very thin shaft here, and the smallest eye, and still be able to get my thread through. I find that gives me more control, and I can work with it easier. If you've got something that's too bulky, you're always having to pull that thread, and that's hard to do. So with all of this, I think what I'm going to do, this is going to be the back. Okay, I'm going to get a piece of material that is not too busy. Maybe a very light design to it. That's going to be here. And then I think I'm going to use either a piece of jewelry here and here, or buttons or something, and a little thread just to tie it together. And then some fringe across the bottom. I think that's where it's going to go. I really won't know until I finish this and get into that. So if you would like to learn more about some of the stuff that I'm doing, and you see something you like, let me know, and I'll try to do a tutorial on it, and we can chat and sew together. I've really enjoyed this. I've met some really nice people online, and they're very talented and very imaginative. I think the creativity of all this is what fascinates me the most. I wish I could say that I had come up with all of this, but almost everything that I do is inspired by somebody else that's better than I am on the creativity end of it. So I'm going to finish this, and I will show it in another video. Let me know if you like the chat and sew, and what I'd like to do is maybe do it like a sewing circle and do it live once a week, and have everybody bring their project, and we can, although you can't talk to me, you can comment and let me know how you're doing, and we can answer each other's questions and give each other encouragement. So do please subscribe to my channel, Upcycle Creations on YouTube. This is where this is right now. And visit my shop, upcycle-creations.com, and support me in my endeavor to change careers and start something new, and just stay in touch. That's important. I hope you'll come back. Thank you.